self-care. And you know what? One of the benefits of meeting you, Emily, it's like life before Emily and during in these blessed moments, and life after Emily. I am just so much more, calm and within my own being. And I have this instant, my inner oracle is all lit up. And so I can make choices in real time for what's best for me, for instance. So I'm just following my own guidance that you helped me tap into in the first place. So thank you for that.
Yeah, and thank you
Yeah.
too for showing up and diving so deeply into the work and being flexible as the timelines, the grids, the possibilities are so malleable for us right now. I was actually, I want to pause for 1 second because I'll just get on a roll and a tangent and a soapbox about all beautiful insight already coming into my field when I sit with you, because when you sit with other powerful people, it holds that gateway open, right? But I want to invite Karen and Danielle and Donna and Alexa, if you ladies want to join in and you want to put yourself on camera and sit in the room with us, you can. It's okay if you don't have your makeup on and your eyelashes on like I do. And you're welcome to hang out off camera and just listen if that's what makes you feel the most comfortable. But no, you're welcome to get some special attention and hop in here in this container with us. And yeah, welcome to eclipse and full moon energy, right? Whew. All right, I was going to go on a soapbox about something before I pause to invite the ladies to come on live with us. I'm gonna try to see if I can remember it. If not, it'll probably come back once we start talking. All right, well, let's dive in. I can't remember what it was now. It'll come back. This process, yeah, there's Donna. This process of learning to read the Akashic Records was not the first modality for you. I have some people that come in for me that are ready for a really quantum advancement in their life, but they don't really have a lot of other experience in getting certifications, working with other people. They're just in the beginning stages of waking up and diving in. And then I get people at master level like you who have been doing the work for quite some time coming into the space. So share a little bit about what your background was before you and I crossed paths.
Right, absolutely. And thank you for this. And hi, Donna. Nice to see you this morning. It all started in the high chair when I started having what Edgar Mitchell told me was experiencing non-local events. And that means like, all these different timelines, for instance, and it's all of a sudden I'm sort of out of my body, or I'm in two different times and places at the same time, so to speak. So I got on this journey of trying to understand what all this is and what it all means.
When you
And
were in the high chair, you said?
yeah, my first
Like a
memory
little baby?
was I was about 1.5 years. That's right.
This
And
is so cool because I didn't know this about you.
I was fully tuned in to everything. And I'm born in March, so I was in a high chair waving a spoon. So that must have been the summer. So I'm guessing 1.5 years old, right? And I remember my mother and my sister's friend, and the conversations, and in particular, the emotions and their inner talk that they weren't sharing, right? And I was completely imprinted with this. But what was interesting is I wasn't viewing it from my baby body. I was viewing it from like up there looking down.
Oh, so cool.
And at the time, I didn't know what that was. But I remember my baby body being aware of it and going, I wonder what that is. Well, it seems pretty serious. And I like being a baby, right? I didn't know it was my higher self or another timeline kind of checking in on me, right?
That's so cool.
It's so very cool. And at 1.5 years, you're not supposed to have, what is the hippocampus?
Yes.
Develop for long-term memory. So then it really opens up the doors to, well, who are we perceiving? With what aspect of ourselves are we perceiving our reality? So clearly I knew from the get-go that we are far more than our physical bodies, and what we're seeing is out there, right?
I am so excited that you are one of the beings and souls accompanying me to Shasta and on this expedition. because this level of vibrational frequency that you hold, that you've held since a little one, and that you have committed to cultivating over the course of your life is profound. I knew, like, the guides let me know that those who were called to experience this expedition into the vortexes would be very, very special beings. And Teresa, I love knowing this story about you. I didn't know it before today.
May I share one more?
Of course.
Okay, this time let's zoom ahead to when I was about 5 or 6, and we were playing that old game called Kick the Can in the Woods. You know, where you run. It's like a hide and seek game, right? And there was a bunch of us, and again, it was the summer, and I was running through the woods trying to get my little hidey spot in our game, and then suddenly I stopped, and I couldn't move a muscle, right? And I wasn't fearful, I was more in observer mode, right? I suppose. And then all of a sudden, this huge bright white light came down. And it felt like it enveloped me. And I didn't go into fear or control at that young age. What a blessing, the innocent inherit the earth, right? And I was just bathed in all this beautiful energy. And a friend told me how I described it. It's like a Johnny Clegg song, like 1,000 crystal swans in a sky of suns. I mean, you could maybe feel that. I'm getting a little, and it was beautiful. I felt it. Maybe it was like Satori, unity, consciousness, nirvana. I mean, I don't know. I talked to an Anglican priest, and he said that's an experience of grace. And when I was in this zone, I knew I was part of everything, that nothing was separated. If I could see it or touch it, etc., it didn't really exist. And there was so much more going on than we could possibly realize. And I'm getting a little emotional because it was such a blessing, double-edged sword, but a blessing. And I knew at that age, if I wanted anything, which I didn't, because everything was there anyways, I didn't need anything, but I knew at that age, if I wanted anything like an ice cream cone or a teddy bear or whatever, I know it would have instantly manifested in my hands. I know the universe is benevolent, kind, light, and love. I call that energy brilliance, that color brilliance. And I was home. I was home.
Okay, I'm getting a huge hit right now. I'm so excited. Yet I'm going to put you on the spot. Oh my gosh, you guys are in for a treat, everybody here. Good to see you, Tammy. What I was just getting hit with, Teresa, is there is such a powerful activation there. Like when you said, can you feel it? Were you guys feeling it? It was like already beginning to materialize in my awareness. Will you just take us into that space one more time? Let's describe it again for us. And I want everybody to just close your eyes, go inward, and receive this as an activation here.
Right, and I have done this before, but more.
Did you go into settings to?
I have done this before, but more one-on-one in person. So it'll be interesting to see how it translates here. Okay. So you guys, this is beautiful energy. It's not my energy. It's just all around us and within us. I was just graced with the option to feel it and tune in with it, starting at age 5 and throughout my entire life. And it's beautiful. It's grace, it's love, and it's who we are in spiritual truth. So if you want to kind of tune into it, fabulous. What a great idea, Emily. So we invite you just to, be in your chair, wiggle around, be comfortable, rest gently in your heart, and feel that beautiful white light within you, just that's naturally there, your energy. And now, when I was very young, I was in the woods with some friends on a beautiful summer day, running around, and then suddenly I stopped. And I entered the space between the breaths, the space memory realm, very in the quantum, very much connected with the Godhood, the Godhead. And in this space, where we initiate ourselves into our divine sovereignty, it looked like the purest white light energy that could come through. You can visualize maybe selenite or maybe danbarite. Maybe another doorway to help you open this would be experiencing a Pegasus or a unicorn, a white lotus. And when this started for me and I felt this energy, it was like 1,000 crystal swans in a sky of suns. And all was love and light. We are so all connected and we are all one. There is no difference between you and me. We are all holograms from Creator, True Source, God. And we are always here. We never leave this place, this space within ourselves, this sacred container we are all held in. And I invite you to feel the love and the light. Allow it to permeate. Titrate it as much as you want to. Share it with a plant next to you. Hold a crystal. Hold your sacred jewelry that you might have within arm's reach. And have the intention of this blessed energy to come down and light you up from inside. Because in truth, this is who you really are. I'm feeling the love. I don't know about you people. It's kind of hard to talk right now.
I can take over a little bit for you if you need to. Sit in that frequency.
Yeah.
Ooh. Yes. This is, well, just an incredible gift for me. I'll just share with you guys. I was called to pull up. I've got a beautiful big stick of selenite here with the planetary geometry, sacred geometry on it. And what's beautiful is that, we're experiencing really powerful alignments right now with the eclipse and the full moon energy. So goodness gracious, we are blessed right now. It's powerful if I don't say real bad words. I say stuff like that, goodness gracious. Whew. To gather in sacred ceremony and experience this today. Welcome, Sherry. I see you jumping in. I would highly invite any of you who jumped in a little bit late or didn't catch all of that. That was a powerful sacred ceremony, a powerful upgrade. Teresa, my goodness, thank you so much. This question is like a typical interviewer's question, but it's also so freaking sincere from my heart right now. Because I am very different in the fact that I feel like we're all born with our sacred senses. Not all of us are born with them awake and intact. And I don't remember necessarily having all of mine for a very long time in my life. I remember like blips of connection throughout my childhood, but I was somebody who really went on a journey seeking the experience of turning them on, and then had this moment where it was like, oh my gosh, it's undeniable that one can do this, that this is real. So we've arrived, one can arrive to similar places on the journey through completely different experiences. But how the heck did I even help you with anything? That's my question. How the heck did the Akashic Records and what I taught you even upgrade you even a little bit? Holy cow.
Well, for instance, that beautiful brilliance experience is a double-edged sword, because at 5, whatever ego structure I was setting up, right, was blasted away. So I didn't have the discernment of thinking, oh, everyone knows this, because that's what I thought. So I didn't tell anyone. I thought I was catching up to everybody. So it never occurred to me people would do mean things or maybe steal from me, because why would they do that? Because they're honestly just harming themselves. So I had to learn to establish those boundaries and sort of reverse engineer everything, right? To understand how all that happened. And that's why I was talking to Edgar Mitchell about it, the astronaut. And I was trying to explain to him this bilocation and time traveling that I was doing spontaneously. And he just basically said, well, we don't talk the same language, because he would call that having a non-local event.
Mm-hmm.
And so ever since then, because I needed to understand these things and to do my own personal healing, which was very deep, and I had so many traumas in my life, that I've been seeking teachers for decades. And all these beautiful people, I'm not going to name drop, that I've, done courses with, they've all helped me kind of bring pieces in. And even I really believe in hiring local healers, shamans, practitioners, because they all play a valuable part. We need community and we need help at various times of our life. So just jump aboard and love yourself enough to show up for yourself. And I was doing pretty well. However, with you, Emily, what I learned is to trust myself in a deeper way than I never had before. I love oracle cards and I sell them and I do well at that. But there comes a point when you don't really need that, and I can just tune in and get the energies from within, right? I mean, I've got a reading book next week that I'm getting a reading from somebody, right? So it's not like I'm, all this in a bag of chips too, right? But I was just needing to become cohesive and bring it all together. And to me, the best, most prime, and I would suggest this for anyone, is learn how to read the Akashic records. This dials you into your own unique spiritual personal truth. And then you can, who are you? What are your talents and abilities? Get explanation for things in your past that kind of make you go, in a good way, or maybe a little more challenging way, right? It's so empowering. It's so liberating.
How do you feel like your life is different now? Oh, did you need some?
The fire alarm's going off in the building, but it went off now. If it goes off, no, it's okay. It does that once in a while. Lots of energy. Oh my gosh. But if I suddenly mute, that's why I'm muting. Okay.
All right. Sounds good. Let's dive in and start getting some questions from everybody here. And Teresa and I will give you some what I call popcorn readings, meaning whatever pops into our mind, our awareness, our frequency, we will share that guidance, that insight, that direction with all of you. I'm playing around a little bit here with going from gallery screen to speaker screen. For those of you, if this is the first time you're on Zoom, you can change what you're visualizing on the screen. If you like this Brady Bunch style, you can have all of us on the screen. And if you want just the speaker on the screen, you can switch that up there, whatever makes you feel the most intimate here. I was switching back and forth from speaker because it's nice to record it on speaker, but I feel like I lose contact with everybody when I flip back and forth like that. I want to see everybody on here. All right, so let's start typing some questions into the chat box here. Catherine Haskins, she's new here. Oh, welcome newbies. We want to make you feel very warm and welcome in this community. So I'm so glad you're here. What's up, Mel? I just see Mel popping in. What would you suggest if we would like to dig deeper with this? Well, get on my schedule ASAP is what I would say, Catherine, because we can dive into getting directly into your field, your energy, and taking a look at what it is that you want to create. When Teresa talked about reverse engineering things, I believe every single human being is designed to live a dream life. A dream life means that you are in alignment in all aspects of you. You can show up fully authentic and self-expressed in your relationships, your health, your career, how you share your gifts and skills, your genius on the planet. And that looks different for everybody. So that's the first thing I like to do with people is let's get clear on what you want to create in your life and then where you are now. And then we begin to reverse engineer. And that reverse engineering work is a combination of, like Teresa said, when you learn to read the records, it's a process of deeply making sense of every aspect of your life that is not yet reconciled. That's words that they're using coming in right now that just mean your karma, your lessons, your trauma, places where you're holding energy that's not neutral inside of your being. That all must be purged and cleared before you can really see the truth of who you are. Otherwise, you see it through that filter of trauma and past karma. So it's a process of releasing, stripping down all of that programming that is not truthful into who we are, and then beginning to look through the eyes of our records, how the record sees us, and begin to see what is possible. What do we want to choose? What do we want to create? And then what are the actions that we take that align to that timeline? All right, Teresa, take it away. What would you suggest if somebody wants to dig a little deeper?
Right, Catherine, fabulous question and welcome. I think for me, my experience, it's able to connect with my higher self, my I am presence, my Christ consciousness. So I know clearly what that feels like. And the more I work within the records, the more that is consistent. So it's pretty much 24/7 for me now.
Mm-hmm.
And that in itself is a blessing. And Catherine, what you say about, 100% following your intuition, I would probably, suggest that you are well connected with your higher self, right? And so that could be done within the records. Another thing that was interesting is, when you have repeating patterns and it just doesn't make sense, like, oh, one more relationship that didn't work out or whatever. It's not just this life that we're, clearing stuff and reconciling. In the records, you go back, Emily teaches a techniques that you go back to see where those first seeds were planted, where that story started. Because then you can go there, mine that information, have a peek, what was going on, what was the lesson I didn't finalize, or what do I need to know, or forgiveness, clearing, whatever. And then you manage it easily in real time, permanently in your records. And that all translates into your life now, like in your Alpha One consciousness, the person that's part of you that's sitting here, enjoying this sacred space with us today. And then from there, all of a sudden, doors open up magically. Suddenly, these old patterns, or like a friend, she had a sore neck for decades. We were able to clear something, and instantly that sore neck went. And she's in the healing field. She tried everything. She knows everything to do, but it's just sometimes these stubborn things that won't go away, right? So that's just a couple things that kind of came off the top of my head.
Good. I want to riff on that just a little bit. It's so beautiful and synchronous because I was working with a client yesterday, and she's high level too. She's getting her PhD and stuff. I love working with all you high level masters who come into my field, whether you know it or you identify yourself as that or not. So I was working with this young woman, and the insights that were coming in for me, answering the questions and helping her dig in on the places that she wanted to learn, blew my mind. And yes, Tammy, we are all masters. And you will be witnessed as such in my field, in my frequency. That is another aspect of something I could add on to what Teresa said is, like, when you were talking about those stubborn things, sometimes we also need witness in order to release. That's the process. It's one of the biggest lies your ego will tell you sometimes is that you can do it by yourself. And a lot of things, we can do things by ourselves and with sovereignty and make a big impact, but we need community too. And when it comes to big growth, having witness is really, really important. Thank you for following my stream of consciousness, everybody. We're jumping back to the story now of where this crazy, amazing information came in that also related to what Teresa was sharing about when you go back and heal something in a different timeline or a different aspect of the time-space continuum through the records, you will find that the physical, emotional symptoms associated with the trauma shift when you bring your consciousness back into the present moment. And what my client and I were working on, and the insight that came in was, when you can send your consciousness back in time to illuminate an area where you took on a false belief, where you took on trauma, you took on a belief system that wasn't true because you were hurt, and you make a different decision, and you see that through a little bit in the time-space continuum, what happens is when you jump back to, like Teresa said, the real person who's sitting here sharing the sacred space with us, when you're sitting in the presence of your now person, it's like the memory field and the symptoms associated with the trauma, since you experienced it from a different perspective, you've erased those from the consciousness, from the memory, from being so present in your field, and you've tuned into the positive nature of what you would have experienced if you would have had the enlightenment, the support, the safety to make a different decision. And it's like you catch up to yourself and you release the physical aspect of the shit that you're holding. See, there I cussed for you. Just anybody who want to make sure it's still Emily here. You say that the eclipse energy got her. She stopped, cleaned up her dirty mouth. All right, so there's always an activation that comes along with all of these questions. I hope anyone else who has a question leaves them in there. I see a couple more in there that we can dive into. Danielle, good, yes. So let's do a quick activation to open and connect you all a little more dynamically to your Akashic records. That connection point in our chakra field, your auric field, is located in your soul star chakra. So you've got your 7 main chakras that run up and down your central column of light. And then above your crown, about another arm's distance, I just like sit up like this and hold my arms straight up. Right about somewhere up there is your soul star chakra. What Tammy said 2, she said 2 something. So it's like your crown is here and then up here. Tammy, if you want to come off mute and share with us the 3. And did I get close to it or did I put it too high?
I think it's 3 feet, but I could be wrong. I don't know.
3 feet-ish?
I think it's 3 feet. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and your arm is really about 3 feet. So that would be
absolutely.
Add 1 more head length on top of your arm if you're going to hold it up like that. It's about up there. All right. So just close your eyes and send the consciousness up there into the soul star chakra. And just with your awareness, outer awareness and inner awareness, follow the sound of the bowl. Good work. All right, let's dive and take some more questions here. All right, Danielle. I had a major depressive episode back in September. Thank you for that vulnerability and sharing with us. I had a very high anxiety as well. I'm better now, but still feel major anxiety when I think of going back to voiceover work and learning the trade I was working on before I had the debilitating depression. My question is, why am I having so much anxiety around this area? Am I not supposed to be plugging back into that occupation? Yeah, I would say that you're being called to move into something that supports you more dynamically, Danielle. Specifically, what I'm seeing though is that there is a karmic pattern, an unhealed trauma for you that is triggered through the voiceover work. It's like it allows you to work on it, yet it triggers really, really deep karma. And that's the energy that you're feeling, is that anxiety coming up. It's coming up to be released. And I think that the depression that you're experiencing is just around your body letting you know how important it is to release this energy, because it does feel like whatever's associated with this karmic lesson, and it could be around confidence and speaking your authentic truth, that until whatever is blocking that is cleared and healed for you, I feel like you're going to find yourself in that standstill place in all areas of your life, that debilitating place. But it's interesting, what they're showing me is that they're saying, remember though, you can choose a way to understand and perceive your story, or label your story. They were trying to avoid using that word label, but then they're given in using that word label. For example, when Teresa told this story about being a little girl and going through the woods and like stopping in her tracks and being debilitated or frozen or not able to move. When you find yourself in those places where you're not able to move, there's more than one way you can invite your human to have an experience of healing. So when that debilitated energy comes up for you, Danielle, they want you to instantly remember this conversation and create a crystal healing room for yourself. It doesn't have to make sense, but just know you're being put into a chamber of healing instantly. My hunch is that as you begin to heal this very, very deep karmic wound that you have, your own healing gifts and skills and abilities are going to come to the forefront more dynamically. And life is going to make more sense after that in terms of what do I do next? Because I do feel like that there is a career shift coming for you. And until you go through a very, very deep healing process, I think it will remain hidden for you. If you choose to go through the deep healing process and allow your gifts and skills to come alive more dynamically and stop running and stop hiding from them, that dream life that still feels like cloudy and out of reach for you will become crystal clear. Teresa, anything that you'd like to add for that? For Danielle?
Thank you, Emily. Danielle, yeah, thank you for being willing to step forward and be seen.
Yes.
This is such an honor to, share this very intimate time with you. Often it's the flowers that speak to me, and what I saw was a big sunflower, with the sunflower seeds in the middle there, and on the skirt, all those really bright little yellow petals around there. And I think when Emily was talking about something that needs healing, that's that black disc in the middle there. And there's like the stem of the sunflower, and it goes back to a time that's not of this current life. It's an alternate life that's happening there. So that's the connection. That's where somewhere maybe 5 or so years, lives ago, to, for ease of conversation, we'll say lives ago. That could be where some of these seeds were planted, and they just sort of kept growing and blooming. And because it's on your consciousness now, Emily's right, it's to be released, right? So in the meantime, what they were telling me is something that you've done recently, and again, this is another 7 that came up, and there's another one too. Something you did before is, if you could somehow repackage it, repurpose it, upgrade it, and I'm not sure what it is exactly, but something you were doing in the last 5 or 10 years, you're just going to have to relaunch it or do something, and that will really take you somewhere. It might not be a forever job, but I think it does have long legs, and that's a fabulous thing just for you to consider, right? And the other thing that came to me is something when you were 7 years old in this life. So if you remember, we did that brilliance energy exercise, that transmission, or if you could remember that feeling tone and just breathe into it and deliberately share that with your 7-year-old, okay? of this life here, that will help breathe that light there, and then just make up so much more space where you'll actually have room to maneuver and move around, so you can take on whatever challenges might come up for you.
Should we do it? Let's just do the sound again. So she can pull up her 7-year-old and do that healing right now. And everyone, I'll invite everyone. If there's a part of your inner child that needs this healing, whether you are consciously aware right now or it's still unseen, just allow your inner child to receive this healing and experience what we're talking about how there's just this gentle and miraculous shift when we heal aspects of our former self. And we release that energy that we've been carrying for so long that we don't need anymore. And do it so simply just by allowing this sacred tone to release whatever trauma or pain in your inner childhood that needs to be released. The guy's just reminding that this releasing on the full moon energy, the eclipse energy, is so powerful. And by so much more powerful, I mean at least 30% more powerful. That's what they say during the time of the eclipse and powerful alignment. The energy is at least 33% more powerful. And they say that too when you're meditating, that doing it in that 6 to 7 o'clock-ish hour, that sunrise hour and that sunset hour, that magic hour, the magnetic energies are stronger, and that you get more cosmic support. So for those of you who like your shortcuts, okay, your life hacks, spiritual life hacks 101. All right, it is, let me check in our time, 10:53. I have till the top of the hour, and then it's time for me to go into a planning meeting for Mount Shasta, which I'm very excited about. So let's popcorn through the rest of these really quickly. If anybody has anything else they want to get in, we're going to go speed style the last 7 minutes here. But I want to make sure that if you have some area where you need support and guidance today, that we get to you. iPhone says, I've gone into the records, got the understanding, did the healing, and come back to the now. I love it. And notice it's still present. Not sure what I'm not getting or a step I'm missing. It doesn't sound like you're missing a step. Our iPhone companion today. I don't know who you are. Please. Oh, it's Melinda. Duh, it's Melinda. Melinda, you're not missing any steps. It's just believing in yourself and just knowing that you're doing it. Yeah. Let's see. Sherry says, as an awake person, is it possible to experience such discernment? On a career issue was hard. Yes, then doubt set in. After being on the fence for 2 months now, it's a hard no. Sometimes we have to create and allow the time and the space and the patience for the insight to come in and for us to feel really confident in the decision that we're making. Yet I find with the records, it can shorten that amount of time really drastically. How do you weigh in on that one, Teresa?
Absolutely. This is a time where all these timelines, and people keep saying it, we're jumping timelines, right? And the more we're with the records and more within our own space there, that's when we know we get all those synchronicities that give us the road sign. So it's just surrendering, trusting, letting go, and living almost like you're relaxed in the back half of your body. Oh, yeah. As compared to like that, right? Just sort of more relaxed and just sort of following the flow like that. And it's beautiful.
You made me remember what I forgot in the beginning. I'm so excited about this one. I was wanting to tell a quick story about how malleable the timelines are, how malleable the grid is. And Miss Melinda here, she's a powerful worker with the grids, a powerful steward of the grids. He's coming to Mount Shasta too, which I'm very excited. And so is Tammy, and so is Nancy. Anybody else here on the
Me?
Shasta crew? Teresa? Well, I said you in the beginning. But I was sitting and just giving myself like a moment of break, and I was breathing and just staring at the wall. And what popped into my mind was, oh, the grid is so malleable right now. The timelines are so malleable. And all of a sudden I started seeing my wall move and go like this. And we've had all kinds of really interesting, crazy experiences here in our family. But I wanted to share that really woo-woo story that happened to me in the beginning. So thank you for reminding me of that. Donna, such a good question. When you have an Akashic healing, does it also affect your adult children's lives? Yes, it affects everyone connected to you forward and backward through time. However, we all have free will, and adult children most of the time have experienced more of the matrix that has caused them to be jaded and a little hard, a little tough around the edges. Like, not all children. I mean, some beings are very, very enlightened, but unless you've had a profound experience of enlightenment yet, sometimes those adult children will resist the shifts that they're feeling because they're foreign and they don't really understand them, and they weren't necessarily seeking them either. So it's interesting how well or how powerfully it can be received, because everyone has free will. They can choose to receive it or to not receive it. Little kids who are really soft and malleable receive it powerfully. And it goes down through the generations too. So if you have grandchildren, they're receiving it too. And doing ancestral work like that is really a very important part of the Akashic Records work, because there is so much ancestry we are here to clear on the planet right now. Teresa, what did you want to chime in about that?
Huge. There's so many, what I've been taught is blessing bundles from the ancestors and burden bundles from the ancestors, right? And I had so many. I was very top heavy on the burden ones. Like, oh, you can't do that. Don't expect too much. Set the bar low, nose to the grindstone, work hard, little, recompense. There was all these things that I had no idea that were actually in my DNA, let alone the trauma that gets passed through. And yes, some of the blessings were resilience and knowing how to do certain things just naturally. So that's a beautiful thing. But essentially, in a way too, is all the ancestor karma and stuff is in us, and it will manifest in our lives. So it's about us taking responsibility for it. So if we clean our side of the street and do deep, thorough cleaning and clearing in the records, however you want to do it, then that will also translate and become blessings for your ancestors, so they can be there even more for you in a less wounded state. Because I guess as people pass on, doesn't mean they are suddenly enlightened, right? They have to still go through learning stuff too.
All right, I am plugging in I'm trying to work really fast here, plugging in contact information for Teresa and I in the chat window. So anybody who wants to connect, I'm going to invite you to do that. Teresa, I'm going to go grab your information right now because I have it. It's just taken several clicks to get it. While I'm clicking around, Teresa, do you have any last thoughts or words of wisdom or insight coming in that you'd like to share?
Yeah, sure, certainly. I did put my website up there, you guys. It's just teresaklan.com.
Oh, you did it faster than me. You're so good.
I did. And before I do sessions for people, I make a little altar. What wanted to be part of today is a rainforest rhyolite, okay? And it's like a type of jasper, and you can always look it up later. This is about taking those steps into the unknown, being courageous and courage from the heart into areas that were like, oh, I don't think I can, or I don't know about this. Of sort of going it. It's also about sharing our talents and our gifts. So just have a good look at that. You can watch it later and fine tune into it. This is a little wee piece of spinel. A little goes a long way, and this is about hope. And having hope is not the plan. Having hope is just believing in yourself, that you could address whatever wobbles are happening in the world. And there's a whole bunch of options for us for there to focus on that. Hematite. This is about grounding light and being who you are in your spiritual truth, and what are your gifts? What can you share? And it might just be simply a smile, or it could be doing something on a massive scale like Emily. Black tourmaline, sure, it's very good for grounding, for earthing. It's got a lovely standing stone. So if you're getting a little top heavy or swirly or confused, grab one of your best friends, which is black tourmaline, which is all about the earth and being present here and now. And of course, there's always room for love with the rose quartz there. And usually there's not this many, but because we're a group, I think that's why so many came. So this is our living altar, just to help bring from the quantum field, the 0 point, all the way down through all the protons, through our higher selves. This is what you guys manifested. See how powerful you are? And all you had to do was show up, and this is the world mirroring back to you. So this is the solidification, the manifestation about what we're creating here this morning, thanks to Emily.
Thank you too, my friend. I want to share quickly a couple things. One of my favorite parts about Teresa's reading, when she came and did her final reading for me, which made her a certified Akashic Record practitioner, she set up this whole altar before I came into the sacred space. She did this little pre-ritual for me. Just like she did, she shared how she put those crystals together in a grid and an altar for us before we came in. And it was so special. It was such a beautiful touch that I didn't teach her. She came up with that part on her own uniqueness to really take care of her clients. And I felt so taken care of. You did a beautiful, beautiful job. Thank you. And one more thing on closing, because I wanted to comment quickly on Alexa, your question about how you open the third eye. So many fun ways to get in there and do that, but just the fastest one I can give you right now is lick your finger if you washed your hands recently, and then touch the third eye, or you can dip it in your water if you need to. But what happens is you feel that your awareness instantly goes to that cooling sensation on the skin, and anytime you bring your awareness to a particular aspect of your body, you bring your consciousness there, it's going to begin to expand and open. And Alexa, I invite you to get on my schedule and let's talk about specifically where you're inspired to heal others, where you are curious to continue to learn and grow in life, and look at what the specifics and what the best ways for you to open up are. Because like you said, there are so many different ways to dive in and to honor yourself, your intuition, and what you're here to do. I love you all. Teresa, thank you so much for being here. Everyone, thank you for being here. Blessings to all of you. What a beautiful, just impromptu eclipse ceremony we all got to do today. I love it. All right. Have a good day, everybody. I love you all.